Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your nice, wonderful Mangalacharan. And on behalf of this Bhagavatam reading, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Temple is Eldore. We welcome all the devotees, especially His Grace Dina Sharana Prabhuji. And today we are in Canto 2, Chapter 7, and text number 26. I did the scheduled incarnations. So over to you, Prabhuji, please.
Yes. Someone would like to read the Sanskrit?
Pardon? Yes, Prabhu, I can hear you proper.
Yes, someone can read the Sanskrit?
Oh, someone can. Okay.
The verse?
Okay, I can try, Prabhu. I can try. Text number 26. Bhume sure tarabarutha bimarditaya kleshabhyapyaya kalaya sita krishna kesha jatah karishyati jananupalakshaya marga कर्मे कर्माणि चात्ममहिमोपनिबध्यत्नानि. Translation: when the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descended with his plenary portion, the Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinary. No one can properly estimate how great he is. So, purport, Prabhu, you can hand over to you, or we can read the purport?
Yeah, I can read the purport.
Okay.
This verse is especially describing the appearance of Lord Krishna and his immediate expansion, Lord Baladev. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev are Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is omnipotent and he expands himself in innumerable forms and energies, and the whole unit is known as the one Supreme Brahman. Such extensions of the Lord are divided into two divisions, namely personal and differential. The personal expansions are called the Vishnu Tattvas, and the differential expansions are called the Jiva Tattvas. In such expansional activity, Lord Baladev is the first personal expansion of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So are there any questions or comments about this first paragraph? Any thoughts? I'll continue with the next paragraph. In the Vishnu Purana, as well as in the Mahabharata, both Krishna and Baladev are mentioned as having beautiful black hair, even in their advanced age. The Lord is called Anupalaksha Marga, or in still more technical terms, Avan Manasa Gochara, one who is never to be seen or realized by the limited perception of the people in general. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said by the Lord, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavrita. In other words, he reserves the right of not being exposed to anyone and everyone. Only the bona fide devotees can know him by his specific symptoms. And out of many, many such symptoms, one symptom is mentioned here in this verse, that the Lord is Sita Krishna Kesha, or one who is observed always with beautiful black hair. Both Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev have such hair on their heads, and thus even in advanced age they appeared like young boys, 16 years old. That is the particular symptom of the personality of Godhead. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that although he is the oldest personality personality of all living entities, he always looks like a new, youthful boy. That is the characteristic of a spiritual body. The material body is symptomized by birth, death, old age, and diseases. But the spiritual body is conspicuous by the absence of these symptoms. Living entities who reside in the Vaikuntha lokas and eternal life and bliss have the same type of spiritual body without being affected by any signs of old age. That sounds pretty good. It is described in the Bhagavatam, Canto 6, that the party of Vishnu Dudus who came to deliver Ajamil from the clutches of the party of Yamadutas appeared like youthful boys, corroborating the description in this verse. It is ascertained thus that the spiritual bodies in the Vaikuntha lokas, either of the Lord or of the other inhabitants, are completely distinct from the material bodies of this world. Therefore, when the Lord descends from that world to this world, he descends in the spiritual body of Atma Maya, or internal potency, without any touch of the Behiranga Maya, or external material energy. The allegation that the impersonal Brahman appears in this material world by accepting material body is quite absurd. Therefore, the Lord, when he comes here, has not a material body, but a spiritual body. The impersonal Brahmajyoti is only the glaring effulgence of the body of the Lord, and there's no difference in quality between the body of the Lord and the impersonal ray of the Lord called Brahmajyoti. So any questions about this or any doubts? Everyone believes this about the spiritual world and spiritual bodies?
Prabhuji, request please you continue, then I explain, then if there are questions they can ask.
Yeah, sometimes I do it like this.
Yeah.
Now the question is why the Lord, who is omnipotent, comes here to diminish the burden created upon the world by the unscrupulous kingly order. Certainly the Lord does not need to come here personally for such purposes, but he actually descends to exhibit his transcendental activities in order to encourage his pure devotees who want to enjoy life by chanting the glories of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Mahatmas, great devotees of the Lord, take pleasure in chanting of the activities of the Lord. All Vedic literatures are meant for turning one's attention towards the Lord and his transcendental activities. Thus, the activities of the Lord and his dealings with worldly people create a subject matter for discussion by his pure devotees. Any questions or discussion about this? Anyone want to say something? So the text again, when the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is. So Srila Prabhupada remarks at the end here, that or near the end, that um, the allegation that the impersonal Brahman appears in this material world by accepting a material body is quite absurd. So why is that? Why do you think that is? That it's absurd that the uh, impersonal Brahman accepts a material body. What is the impersonal Brahman? Who has heard something about that?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Danvat pranams. Maybe you can try. Because Lord Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman. The impersonal Brahman is everything else apart from Krishna. Or Brahman is everything else apart from Krishna, emanating from Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Mm. Where did you hear that or read it? Do you remember?
I think yeah, here in previous chapters in the back in the same canto, same. Yes.
So that's good. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratishta hum, that the impersonal Brahman is dependent on me. I am above the impersonal Brahman. And so who can say more? What does this mean? What is the difference between impersonal and personal?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is it the impersonal is like an effulgence of light, the rays of light, compared to the personal when the Lord comes in the form of Krishna
Yes.
himself?
So that, yes, that's spot on, as they say. The example is given by Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas, just like the sun. I don't know if the sun is still there or it's dark, but we can think of the sun uh, sometimes on a cloudy day. Is it not? The sun is behind the clouds and you can see the circle of the sun, right? Everyone has seen that, you know, sun is behind the clouds and you can see the circle of the sun. So we have the sun, uh, the globe, and then we have the sunlight that comes from the sun globe. And then within the sun globe, within the sun is Surya Narayan and Surya Dev, the demigod of the sun. So the of course Surya and Sri Surya Narayan are persons, conscious, thinking, cognizant, sentient. And then the light, the sunlight is without consciousness and without personality, is just impersonal, personal and impersonal. Just like the couches or the chairs or the floor that we are sitting on, it's just dead, right? You can't talk to your floor. And most likely the chair does not have feelings. Does anyone disagree? So personal and impersonal. Personal is sentient, conscious, with will, thinking. So Srila Prabhupada says here, the impersonal Brahmajyoti is only the glaring effulgence of the body of the Lord. And the idea that this impersonal Brahman uh, comes into this material world and accepts a material body is, Srila Prabhupada says, absurd. What does absurd mean? Who knows some synonyms or similar words for absurd? If we say something is absurd, what's another way of saying it?
Abnormal.
Abnormal. Anything else? Anyone else?
Is it ridiculous?
Ridiculous. Yes. Just like if someone says that the 4-bedroom flat is available for £5, that would be ridiculous, right? It's some mistake, probably, right? It's absurd, silly. Anyone else? Any other ways of saying absurd? So Srila Prabhupada says that the idea that something impersonal, without thinking, without thought, without awareness, without intelligence, without uh, desire, comes into this world and accepts a material body and acts like Krishna is ridiculous. How could something that doesn't have thinking think? Does anyone disagree? No one disagrees that something which does not have thinking, how it becomes thinking. So it's just ridiculous. Uh, and Srila Prabhupada does not mention this for no reason, or the Vaishnava acharyas who have commented, they don't say this without some uh, reason. Because there are some yogis, there are some spiritualists who say this, the impersonalists, uh, Mayavadis, that God, that ultimately that they accept, just like the Mayavadis or Shankara Acharya um, and the followers of that way of thinking, like Vivekananda and what's the other famous Indian um, social person, religious person? There's Vivekananda and what's the name of the other one? It's around the same time. Ram Krishna, Ram something. I forget. Uh, but they accept Krishna as God. They do. But they say that Krishna is a material God, that God is beyond Krishna, that Krishna is not the final God, that the final God is this impersonal Brahman, nothingness, basically. It is like the Buddhists, really. Uh, it's just Buddhism uh, out of the Vedas. You know, the Buddhists, what they believe, that everything is ultimately nothing. There's three, four different um, variations of Buddhism, but they all, except for one, actually one accepts an eternal spiritual world, and they chant the holy names of Lord Buddha. But most of the main teaching is that ultimately everything is nothing. Everything comes from nothing. Everything comes from the void. It's just we can imagine if you took your flat and you crumpled it up into a ball and you threw it into a garbage, a trash pail, and then there was nothing, nothing. They actually teach that, yes, that everything comes from nothing, which is absurd, isn't it? Isn't that absurd? Does anyone disagree that? Um, I mean, none of us think like that during the day, do we? Does any of you think like that? That when you see some food, you think, oh, it just came from nothing. You know, you go to the restaurant and the waiter brings you your food. Oh, it just came from nowhere. It just came from nothing. You know, my college degree, it just came from nothing. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's actually crazy because it goes against our own experience, isn't it? No one comes out in the morning and you see all kind of food cooked for breakfast, and you say to your whoever that, oh, where this came from? Oh, nothing. I woke up and there it was. So this is silly, ridiculous. Sounds crazy, actually. But somehow or other, there are many people, supposedly advanced spiritual people, who think like this. They're not actually spiritual. They may have they may think a little, you know, they may think many philosophical, and they may have many complicated ideas, but they're not actually spiritual. Um, so you may ask, well, if they're so smart and they're teachers, how could they think that? It's a mystery. It's mystical. Although actually Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita why that is. Um, because of envy. Uh, what is that verse about the mudhas? That those who don't accept Lord Krishna's spiritual nature, his spiritual body, they are apathy, dull, dull-headed, and not only dull-headed, but envious. Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata. They're actually envious. They don't like the idea that Krishna could have an eternal spiritual body and feelings and beauty and beautiful black hair. We have black hair. Why can't God have hair? We have hair. Many of us have very nice hair, and we take care of it, don't we? We buy all kinds of shampoos and conditioners, right? Make sure it looks very good. Put coconut oil, amla oil on the hair. Uh, so why can't why we have a body? I have a body. I have a face. You have a face. Why can't God have a face? Why not? It's such an absurd, ridiculous way of thinking. Although it may be said that it's true. I mean, God does not have a material body like we do. And that's one reason some people, it's not always just envy, but because we look at things according to our experience, don't we? So how could God have a body like ours? I can't make planets. I can't even make an apple. Uh, I'm a very tiny person, and I can die at any minute. And so you're telling me that God has a body? And so our tendency is to think that spiritual bodies are like this body, the flesh and the blood. But why necessarily do they have to be made of flesh and blood? You know that saying, think out of the box? You got to think beyond our tiny, tiny little experience, isn't it? Uh, so, spirit or Brahman is not just some light, you know. So this is considered the beginning of spirituality, actually. That some people, they appreciate that there's some kind of spiritual existence, but they don't know what it's like. And the tendency is to think that it's completely opposite to this. So this world has thinking, it has feelings, it has thoughts, it has love. So the spiritual realm must be without all those things. But that's only an assumption, isn't it? That's just a guess, isn't it? So the fact is that just as there are bodies in this realm, there are spiritual bodies. Why not? Uh, made of spirit. Uh, the whole spiritual world is made of consciousness. Just like we have our computers and we have our cell phones, and they have plastic and they have glass and wires, isn't it? Metal, and the couch or chair that we're sitting on, it's made of wood and there's cloth. We're breathing air, right? Air. And there's electricity. You plug the thing into the wall and there's electricity. There's so many different kinds of energy. And in this world, we have chairs that are made of plastic, made of rubber, made of wood, made of metal, right? So there are things that are made of spirit, chit. There is a substance, just like we have liquids and we have gases and we have solids like wood and metal and rock. Uh, and there's electrical energy. So there is chit. It is as Lord Krishna says, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor will any of us ever cease to be. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. So Lord Krishna is, he has a body and it's eternal, Sat, and it's Chit, it's made of knowledge, and Ananda, it's full of joy and happiness. Vigraha, uh, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. So there are, in the spiritual world, everything is there, but it's just made of a different, it's made of something else. That's all. It's not so complicated. Uh, there's just another substance. So that sometimes we can explain this to people that just think a little bit further. There's wood, there's stone, there's plastic, and there's spirit also. And not just light. Here, this verse is informing us that Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, they have Sita Krishna, Kesha, beautiful black hair. Uh, and Lord Krishna's body is described in so many ways. Yam Shama Sundaram Achincha Guna Surupa Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Vajami Venam Kwanantam. He's playing a flute. God plays a flute, but the flute is not made of metal, it's made of spirit. Venam Kwanantam Aravinda Galayataksham. His eyes, they look like lotus flowers, but his eyes aren't made of blood and nerves and such things. The eyes are made of spirit. Venam Kwanantam Aravinda Galayataksham Barhavatam. He wears a peacock feather. Yes, birds are in the spiritual world, but they're made of spirit. Even in this world, people have seen ghosts, and the ghosts aren't made of metal. They're not made of stone. They're not made of plastic. They have a subtle, different kind of body. Some people see them. So there is spirit. Venam kwanantamana vindatalaya taksham. Otherwise, how do we have a form? If there isn't form in the original source, then how can there be form anywhere else? This is common sense. There must be. The spiritual world must have form and feelings and thoughts. Otherwise, it couldn't exist anywhere else. So what do we think about that? Does anyone have any thoughts or questions about this? Any doubts? Any doubts that you know other people have? Well, how can God have a body? Oh, how could he not have a body? See, that's what we can say back. How could he not? But it's not like ours. Someone was going to ask something.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can't understand how anybody could be envious of Krishna. Can you explain that to me? I mean, I know characters like Duryodhana and all of that, but I can't understand this very clearly.
Yes, well, you have such a pure heart, so it's hard to understand. Uh, but just like we're envious of anyone else, some woman comes into the office and she has nice new jewelry and a dress and the dress that we've wanted for a long time. We get a little jealous. Oh, I wanted that dress, or whatever it is. So it's the same thing. Krishna is God is a person, and you may not want, but many people want lots of money and power, ability to do. They want to have what Krishna has, just like we sometimes want to have what other people have. It's natural to be a little jealous. of Krishna, to feel bad that he can do anything and everything he wants, whenever he wants to, however he wants to. He has no suffering, he has no difficulties, he has no bills to pay, he doesn't have to work. So it's only natural that we small humans would become a little jealous. Oh, I wish I could have that. Or even, we get a little angry that, oh, how come he has that? I can't have it. So some people are not like that very much. But many people, as far as we know from scripture, most souls in this world, and in fact, we are told that until the stage of Krishna Prema, we all have some microscopic speck of anger or hate, which we don't like to think about, but it's there, actually. That's what brought us to this world. I want to be like Krishna. That's what brought us here. That's what keeps us here. And we see there are many people who will say that right to your face, or we know they don't like God. They don't want nothing to do with God, and they're angry. So we are on the devotional path, and it's much, much, much less for us. But there's very evil, dark, angry, hateful people out there. There are. You have to be careful. They take pleasure in causing pain to other people. Very angry, hateful kind of souls. And Krishna says, each advaita. We are all born into this world with some degree of dislike for Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya has given this Cheto Darpana Marjanam because this is what specifically keeps us here, that we don't like Krishna to one degree or the other. And so this Cheto Darpana Marjanam, this chanting of the divine names of Krishna, it it cleanses that away. It washes away. Srila Prabhupada specifically says that. I don't remember exactly where, somewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that this envy will be removed by Harinam. Not only just removed, but our original appreciation for Krishna will awaken, and our original strong love for Krishna will awaken. And we think about the different relationships of love of Krishna's devotees, whether in the Krishna Lila or in the Ram Lila, the Singha Lila. Lord Krishna, Dwarka Lila, Mathura Lila, and the Vrindavan Lila. We're so fortunate to have the opportunity of associating with those many pure devotees who really love Krishna. Mother Jashoda loves Krishna. She doesn't even care. She doesn't want to know that he's God. All she knows is this is my son, and I just want to make sure he eats so he doesn't die. Like any mother, just really cares for Krishna and her pleasure, her life, her everything. Just like for any good mother, her everything is her son. And Nanda Maharaj and the uncles, Upananda and Sunanda, and the different elderly people, the gopis, the elderly gopis, just love Krishna. Just love him deeply, warmly. You think about him. You just think he's wonderful. And then the friends of Krishna, all the different friends. Sudama, Sridama, Subal, Bharatapa, Madhamangal, so many dozens of cowherd boyfriends, and they're good friends. I'm sure some of us, if not all of us, have friends or we've had friends. It's a very special, nice kind of relationship, isn't it? To have a good friend that you know they care about you and you care about them, and you share life with them and you enjoy doing different things with your friend, right? It's so nice to have friends, especially intimate friends, um, men or women, that you can talk to, and they're happy when you're happy, right? That's a friend. When you go, oh, I got that promotion, and they're happy. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. And they're actually happy for you. So Krishna's friends, they just love him and they enjoy playing with him and they look forward to being with him. And Krishna's parents and Krishna's friends and Krishna's servants, um, they're so happy to be in the service of Krishna and be able to fan him and cook for him and get his clothes ready and drive his chariot, just like Daruka in Dwarka is driving the chariot of Arjuna, of Krishna. Uh, so they all have this natural good feelings for Krishna. What to speak of the gopis? What to speak of the young ladies of Vrindavan? They're just nuts about Krishna. They can't spend a day away from him or without thinking of him. They think a moment to be like 12 years or more. Imagine that. Just like some of us, we've had girlfriends or boyfriends, wife or husband, and that experience of just can't wait to see them, and you're always thinking about them, right? Uh, that kind of love relationship. So this is our normal um, way of feeling and thinking is to appreciate Krishna, to appreciate God, and to love Him, uh, and qualifies us to be with Him. Of course, what person can we think of that would want us around, or even that we would be around if we didn't care about them, right? Or if we're actually an enemy, we're actually, we have negative feelings towards them. That's just, we stay with who we want to be with. And so to be in the spiritual world, we need to be in our normal thinking that how wonderful is Krishna, how nice is Krishna. Krishna is my everything. And then at the time of leaving this world, we'll go back to the spiritual world because that's where we want to be. So this whole life, as we know, it is for healing. This whole life is meant for what do you call it? Taking a treatment. Yeah, where we are all under the care of expert doctor of the spiritual master of Lord Krishna himself, Lord Chaitanya, and they have given the medicine that we can take so that we can get free of this awful, awful lack of interest in Krishna. It is this lack of interest in Krishna that causes all of our suffering. It is just like if addictions, isn't it? There are so many people who smoke or they drink a lot of alcohol, but they don't like it. They wish they could be free, at least to a large extent, but they can't. That's horrible. Isn't that horrible? To know that you're doing something which is destructive, that's causing pain, but you can't stop. That's awful. Sometimes we have very strong desires and we know, oh, if I eat 8 biscuits, I'm going to be really sick. Or if I drink all of this alcohol, or if I get myself involved in a relationship with this woman or this man, it's not going to be good. And we know it. But sometimes we do it anyway, right? Awful. Just hard. Oh, I'm going to suffer. But somehow you can't stop. That's bad. So this Harinam, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalo nasteva nasteva gatir anyata. It is meant to save us. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur glorifies Lord Chaitanya, that Lord Chaitanya, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, he has come to awaken us. And he has come to give us the medicine of Sankirtan, of Harinam, of glorifying Krishna. This mood, this attitude of finding something, some kind of positive feeling for Krishna and Kirtan. When we sing Kirtan, Hare Krishna, or we chant Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Vihari, we should pray to have some genuine positive feeling. We cannot expect, and we should not artificially try, we should not pretend that we love Krishna like Mother Yashoda or Arjuna. I mean, we may, I don't know, but we should not pretend. But we can, for sure, find something to feel positive about. And we should not think that it has to be spiritual. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling through the Jharikand forest, he said to his assistant, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he said, "Oh, Krishna is so kind. He's given us this nice spinach and this nice fire." So Srila Prabhupada instructs us in the Bhagavad Gita that this is the beginning of Krishna consciousness, and it depends upon each of us. It may be that some of us are quite advanced and um, on the level of spontaneous devotion to Krishna or close to spontaneous devotion. That may be. Or it may be, really, it may really be the true that we're on the level of right now, in terms of our heartfelt feelings, of just appreciating, not just, but appreciating Krishna in our everyday life. That, oh, this fan, which is blowing in the hot summer. Oh, so thank you, Krishna. And thank you for this food. And thank you for these clothes. And thank you for everything. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for the moon. Thank you for the air. Thank you for the good intelligence. Thank you for my friend. We should not make the, I don't want to say fatal, but we should not make the bad mistake of thinking that we're more advanced than we really are. And waiting for some distant time in the future that I'm going to love Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada instructs us that the beginning of Krishna consciousness is to appreciate the moonlight, the sunlight, the water, the fire, the food, the intelligence, the strength, everything right now, here, today, that comes from Krishna. And feel, oh, thank you, Krishna. And so someone may say, oh, but isn't that material? Yes, it is kind of material. Yes, it is. And that's where we may be truly situated. Of course, it's not material. Anything in relationship to Krishna is spiritual, but it may not be the love of the gopis. The gopis don't care what Krishna gives, what Krishna doesn't give. All they know is Krishna is wonderful. So if we are on that platform, that's great. That's our success. And if it's not, then we have to begin wherever we truly are. This is very, very important instruction of Krishna in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That a yogi should not pretend. And just because we hear so many elevated discussions about Krishna Bhakti and the gopis and rasa and all these different things, doesn't mean necessarily that just because we can even explain those things, that's where I am really situated in terms of my devotion. It's kind of an odd thing that we could talk about conjugal love, but we're just trying to be very steady and just appreciating Krishna for the things that happen in our everyday life. But it's entirely possible. And Lord Chaitanya has showed us the example of not only being attracted to Krishna, Venam Kwanantam Alavinda Dalaya Taksham, how Krishna is so beautiful with his bluish black shining body and the clothes that he wears, and what a wonderful, wonderful person he is. But also to appreciate the spinach and appreciate the fire and the electricity and the lights and the car and everything. Very, very important. Um, so I'll stop here. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhu, for that beautiful talk. It just hit me about absurdism. I was reading one of the books by Albert Camus. I think he's the father of absurdism. And he used to say that the human condition essentially becomes absurd because humans are always looking for meaning, but they are completely unable to find meaning because there's no such meaning. So that was his basis of his philosophy of absurdism. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Very, very sad. Yeah, you're just left with despair and depression.
Yeah, to nihilism.
And we may reflect that not just appreciating, but then wanting to reciprocate. You see, that, oh, Krishna's so kind to give the light, to give the intelligence, to everything. What can I do for him? In other words, it's very real. It's not just something imagination, but all of this Krishna has provided, and he's so kind. And what can I do for him? And so that's the beginning of a loving, going in the direction of loving relationship. And feeling connected to him always, not just when we go to the temple, but always, everything. I remember when I was very new with the devotees, and there was an older godbrother, and so he helped me. I learned a lot about this, by his example. So we were driving, right? So I don't know about there, but here in America, when you drive on the roads, they have the lines. They have a yellow line. Sometimes they have a white line, to separate the lanes of traffic. And then there are the lights, right? Traffic light. Here we have the red light, green light, and yellow light. Red is for stop, yellow is for slow down, and green is for go. Yes? So so we were driving, and he said, look, there's Lord Jagannath, there's Lord Balaram, there's Subhadra. I said, what? What are you talking about? He said, look, see the traffic light. The red is Lord Jagannath's eyes, and the white is Lord Balaram's body, and the yellow is Subhadra, or the yellow is the dhoti, the cloth that Krishna wears around his hips. So I said, oh, I see. So the colors are reminding you of Krishna. And he said, yes, when you drive on the road, the black reminds you of the bluish blackish form of Krishna. Oh, I see. So like that, uh, we train our vision to be reminded of Krishna. You see the notes, there are money. I don't know what color the Kenyan notes are. Here in America, the notes are especially green. so we can remember the greenish complexion of Lord Ramachandra and the green fields of Vrindavan. So in this way, we train with our minds and our thinking to see Krishna always everywhere, to be reminded. It's like a game. And challenge yourself. How can this remind me of Krishna? Any other questions or comments? Discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that Yashoda Ma doesn't know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Leelas, like the eternal Leelas, is it the same that she doesn't know who is Krishna?
I didn't quite hear your question. You're saying the Mother Jashoda doesn't know Krishna is the supreme person?
Yes, and in the eternal Leelas that happen in Golok Vrindavan, does she still not know that Krishna is God?
Yeah. To smooth the path of the kind of love that she wants to have, Krishna covers her with his yoga maya, just like we're conditioned souls are covered by Mahamaya, that even though God is everywhere by his energy, many don't recognize. So yoga maya creates spiritual amnesia because it would disturb it if she thought that he was God. Why would she want to feed him? You see? So that is the play of yoga maya. And Krishna enjoys it. Krishna enjoys her sweet love, and she enjoys sweetly loving Krishna. And apparently, occasionally, she does remember, but not for long. Devaki, on the other hand, if we remember, she's in a different rasa, and she's in the service dasya ras with some parental. So she's much more conscious that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. The Pandavas, Arjuna and Bhima, they know in the back of their mind, but mostly they're just thinking of him as a friend. Is that all right?
Thank you, Haribol.
Yeah, it's just as there's Mahamaya in this world, so there's Yoga Maya in the spiritual world for the purposes of love.
Hare
Anything
Krishna.
else?
Hare Krishna. Uh,
Yes.
I think I read somewhere that sometimes, but Krishna also allows this yoga maya to cover him so that he can connect more with the devotees. Is it true?
Yes. Yes, that when the cowherd boys were walking into the mouth of Aghasur, very briefly he was confused. What am I going to do to save them? So Yoga Maya is a servant of his, and she knows what he wants. She knows his plan. So, but it's just play. I mean, he never completely goes into amnesia. Very wonderful. It's like a play. It is play. Anything else?
Yes, Prabhuji, can you just say a little more on the difference between Yoga Maya and Mahamaya, please?
Yes, Mahamaya is that which separates us from Krishna, that reduces our love and our awareness of Krishna, and Yoga Maya increases. We are,
she increases our love for Krishna.
yeah, and awareness. That's Yoga Maya. That is Daivam Prakritam Ashruta. What's that verse in the 10th canto? That explains that the devotees, they're under the protection of the divine energy. They're under the protection of Srimati Radharani, the Yoga Maya. So that which brings us closer is Yoga Maya, and that which separates us is Mahamaya.
Well,
That's
thank you
how
so
I've heard it.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Prabhuji, is Mahamaya like Durga Ma or Parvati Ma, or is that also Radharani?
Well, it shadow Durgama is shadow of Radharani. One of the 1,000 names of Srimati Radharani is Nava Durgaya. There is Sahasranam of Srimati Radharani. And so there is one name. Nava means 9, Durgaya. So as a reflection, a distant expansion, yes, Durga Devi, Parvati is, there is distant connection, shadow reflection, the feminine Shakti. Very good. So Srimati Radharani, just like Lord Krishna, it's not good for us usually to forget how powerful Krishna is. Otherwise, how could he protect? How can we have faith that he can protect us? So if Srimati Radharani is only a woman in Vrindavan, then it may be difficult to believe that she could help us. But she is Nava Durgaya. She is the 9 forms of Durga. So powerful. She is Lakshmi Devi. So it's good for us to remember that sometimes. She's completely capable of helping us. So a little late, I think. Good question. That's so Srila Prabhupada instructed directly that until we are on the stage of Baba, we should see the Radha Krishna deities in the temples as Lakshmi Narayan with awe and veneration. I mean, we know here is Radha Govinda, here is Radha Krishna, but very respectful and very conscious of their power, how powerful they are, how great they are. So does anyone want to end the session?
Okay, I think we can end the session. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for that beautiful class. We can unmute and chant a round of Hare Krishna mantra, Maha Mantra, in glorification of Nectar. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama.
Rama,
Rama
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being here. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Nitai
All,
Gauranga Lord Chaitanya Maharaj. Yes.
all glories to Dina Sharana, Prabhuji. Very nice discourse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Everyone be well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.